Tonight on KGW News, just when we hoped it was over. Tonight, tens of thousands more people dealing with fresh headaches, with trees and power lines tumbling, and in some spots, a brand new layer of ice.
They clean up our roads a bit and they put some salt on them, but it's still slippery out here and there.
With some tonight recovering from their attempts to get out on foot.
I landed right at the bottom of my house and I crawled to our steps.
As hospitals see more injuries in a single day from slips and falls than they have in years. Good evening, everyone. David Molko here, and new at 11, Governor Tina Kotek has declared a statewide emergency because of the significant impacts of the cold and ice across multiple counties. This is a live look from our Rose City Sky Cam, where the temperatures still are not rising as fast as we hoped, causing some of this week's ice and slick surfaces to linger. We have team coverage of those slippery roads, fresh power outages, and unfortunately more injuries and damage. So we begin tonight with Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino with the very latest. Matt.
Thanks, David. I got a little bit of good news. This is Doppler radar, and you can see we still have rain and freezing rain over the air, but notice from about Canby south, it is ending. So I don't think we'll see very much more additional icing. If it's any, it's going to be very light because the rain that is remaining right now is very light, and it should be ending quite soon as this last batch moves on through. It's already north of the I-5, I-205 junction. So that's point of good news there, number one. Here's another piece of good news for you. This is our ice accumulation forecast starting now and going through tomorrow. Nothing new on the map except for maybe in the Coast Range, and then of course out in the gorge. We'll get a little bit there, but for the metro area, even East County, no additional icing, at least nothing significant. There could be a little tiny bit later on, between now and midnight before the precipitation totally ends. Temperatures again just straddling that freezing line. 32 in King City, 34 Cedar Hills, 33 West Lynn, 32 Southeast Portland, 29 in Happy Valley. East Portland 30, but the airport's at 36, amazingly enough. And we actually just climbed above freezing here in downtown Portland by 1/2 of a degree. And then out in the gorge, Corbin, Crown Point, both showing temperatures in the 20s. No surprise there as the east wind continues to rage. As we just showed you, Portland 36 at the airport, so that's good. That'll help some melting out that way. But these east winds are just ripping through East County and the West Hills, getting hit really hard by these east winds. That's helping to insulate things and keep things frozen. And remember, I told you earlier that elevated items would freeze. Well, they did. They were power lines, but the roads have frozen up too on the side streets. All that slushy snow that was relatively easy to drive on today, much of that has refrozen. Now, those east winds will continue to rip tonight. I think they've peaked, or they're just peaking now. They'll still be with us tomorrow, but they should begin to back off a little bit and then really back off on Saturday. We don't really lose them, though, until probably Sunday. So temperatures holding steady overnight tonight. Most places have refrozen, though. Light freezing rain comes to an end. Stays windy into Friday, but we get dry weather tomorrow. So hopefully that'll help to melt some of this ice, David, as temperatures will rise above freezing.
Yeah, relief is out there somewhere. Thank you, Matt. Wow, just look at those trees. A viewer in the West Hills shared this video of their back deck. You can see how strong that relentless east wind was gusting earlier today. You know what? It's brought down more trees, more power lines. In one case, a live wire landed on top of a car with people inside. This was in Gresham on South Troutdale at Stark. Firefighters say everybody in the vehicle stayed inside while PGE crews worked to de-energize that line. No one was hurt. The intersection remains closed to traffic. Now, according to PGE's website, outages mushroomed up to 45,000 customers tonight. That is more than 4 times the number of people who were in the dark this time last night. Let's begin. Catherine Cook once again live in Drive 8 tonight. Catherine, you have seen transformers blowing. You've seen crews making repairs. You've seen icy streets, melting streets. What's it like out there right now?
Good evening, David. We are in Northeast Portland near the Irvington neighborhood. I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera so you can have a look for yourself here from Drive 8. All right, let's get it going here. It's always the getting going part that's toughest in these conditions, don't you think? You can see the ice and slush on the ground. It's slick in some spots here. We are on Northeast Garfield Street, just off of Northeast Fremont, again in the near the Irvington neighborhood in Northeast Portland here. We've been trying to give you a snapshot of driving conditions in different parts of town each night. You can see here it is fairly slick and slushy on all of these surface streets. All right, now Let's take a look at some video we shot earlier tonight in East Multnomah County. This was in Pleasant Valley near Southeast 162nd and Foster. This spot was hit pretty hard with power outages. We watched utility crews as they ran from call to call. As we drove down Southeast Dunbar Drive, it was clear that several neighbors were without power. PGE tells us they're dealing with a ton of smaller repairs, like on side roads and in backyards. They say those repairs tend to take just as long as others, but impact fewer customers. Another challenge, repairs in isolated areas that can be tougher to access and take longer to fix. But as we saw, crews are out there working on all of it. They've got nearly 1,700 personnel, including help from across the region. Back live here in Northeast Portland from Drive 8. Here's another live look at driving conditions here in the Irvington neighborhood. You can see lots of packed snow. It's pretty bumpy in some of the areas that have begun to freeze over again, rather. A lot of this was quite slushy earlier in the evening, but again, it is quite frozen. PBOT is asking once again that people please avoid unnecessary travel tonight and tomorrow morning. Also, they're reminding everyone to please allow extra space for those utility crews and for first responders as they respond to all of those important calls. David, back to you.
Yeah, taking it slow and steady in Drive 8 tonight. Thank you, Catherine. Well, tonight we are keeping an eye on a couple of trouble spots that close portions of highways on the east side. That includes I-84 eastbound onto I-205 south. It's a live look where you can see flashing lights there through the icicles on the camera. Now south on I-205 near Powell Boulevard, a stuck vehicle closed the intersection for a while earlier tonight. More icicles, but traffic is now getting by. Check out tripcheck.com, of course, for the latest if you have to travel. Meanwhile, the Columbia River Gorge remains under an ice storm warning. You don't want to travel through there yet if you don't have to. I-84, yes, it's still open, but there were significant delays throughout the day for those trying to make it through. Trucks, in some cases, are stopping on the interstate to chain up. They're blocking traffic. Earlier today, we saw dozens upon dozens of trucks and trailers waiting to make their way into one of the worst hit areas, Cascade Locks. One experienced trucker telling us he's not that worried about the road itself, just the other drivers.
We got a lot of new drivers on the road these days, but there's only one way to learn, that's to do it. Hopefully nobody gets hurt while they're learning. The school of hard knocks is kind of rough.
Yeah, ODOT says it is throwing everything they've got on highways, salt, sand, de-icer, and snow plows, but adds they will close the gorge again the second conditions become unsafe. On the Washington side, by the way, State Route 14 remains open, though not to heavier vehicles. Well, let's talk transit, and tonight MAX train service has once again been suspended. That includes the Blue Line, which was partially running today. It's all because, though, of heavy icing. Limited shuttle buses are now running between MAX stations. Tryman asks people to skip travel at this time and to expect delays on bus routes at least through Friday morning. Right now, they do not have a timetable for resuming that train service. And the list goes on tonight with tens of thousands of students once again staying home tomorrow. Portland Public Schools, among several districts, canceling classes for a fourth day straight. Others like Beaverton are partially open. Some, including Tiger Tualatin and Vancouver, will have a delayed start. You can see that full list in red scrolling on the bottom of your screen, or head to KGW.com for the update. Okay, with ice remaining from Tuesday's freezing rain and more layering on tonight, there are plenty of slick spots. Yeah, in driveways and on sidewalks. Some of you have been brave enough to send video. Ouch. Of trying to navigate them. That includes Brandon here. Thank you for sending the video, Brandon, who was chasing his wife's car down the driveway in South Portland. You saw him wipe out. Now, health leaders in Multnomah County say as a result, more people are showing up in the ER for falls. Oh my gosh, we're going to see it again. Brandon, they reported more than 160 visits just yesterday. All right, let's bring in Alma McCarty. Alma, the video is just, you catch your breath, you feel bad. I hope you got some good footwear tonight.
Yeah, David, definitely got what I believe to be are some, grippy shoes, the best I had in my closet to deal with all of these icy conditions. And really, doctors are seeing a lot of patients because of the icy conditions for broken bones. They say broken wrists, broken ankles, broken hips, and all because of these slips and falls. Multnomah County reported a record number of slip and fall visits to the ER, the highest since 2016, they say. So, you know what, tonight, because it is still icy out, doctors are offering some words of advice. In the last few days, we've been slipping and sliding down driveways, front stairs, and sidewalks. This is Joy McNamara, fresh off her 6th overnight shift at the hospital in a row, trying to make her way down an icy Northeast Portland street.
Oh my God.
I was like, well, I'm this far and I'm going to slide. And that's what I did.
Virginia Lafort took the video after she says her dog started barking at something outside.
I walked over to the living room window and looked out, and I saw Joy, my new friend Joy, standing. You were still standing, yes, standing on the corner. and I thought, oh God, don't do it. And she drops to her knees. And I got out my phone.
Although she didn't post the clip to social media, she shared it with a few friends. And in no time, it went viral. Even Joy saw it.
I was perusing Reddit before bed, and I was like, oh, wait, that's me.
The two connected and can laugh about what happened, knowing this could have been worse, given the sheet of ice still coating the neighborhood.
But I'm very glad it brought us together because I was really worried about her.
This is a rough time to be trying to fight gravity. Gravity always wins is sort of the mantra of this time of year.
Dr. Shayna Cusin with OHSU says working the overnight shift in the emergency department was eerily quiet Tuesday night. Then Wednesday rolled around.
The thing that's easy to forget about ice is it is just so fast to go down. And it's never when you think you're going to. You hit these patches and then you slide.
Had record numbers of emergency room visits and 911 calls.
Dr. Richard Bruno, health officer for Multnomah County's health department, says after 166 trips to the ER relating to falls on Wednesday alone, they're hoping people stay extra vigilant until all the ice is gone.
Want to make sure people also look out for ice that can be underneath snow or ice can be on top of snow. It can be very dangerous and sometimes hard to see, especially in dark when it gets dark and at night.
All right, guys, we are almost out of the woods. That is what we are hoping. But you might want to employ some of the county's tips. These might seem a little obvious, but they are helpful. You want to go slowly. You definitely want to just take your time when you are walking. Bend slightly. That is one of these tips. Walk flat-footed, extending your arms for some balance, a little Frankenstein-like. But you also want to have shoes with a good grip. The shoes that I have on right now, they could be a little bit better. I had some spikes on. That definitely helped with all of this ice. And then if you can, wear a coat with a lot of cushioning. So should you fall, you've got something to fall onto. Now listen, I am definitely going to employ these tips myself because I am prone to falling. David, back to you.
Yeah, you know what? Me too. We may lose our ballots, but we are not going to lose our dignity. Thanks, Homa. Appreciate that. Wow, still to come at 11. I'm glad everybody's okay, right? In those videos, they may be struggling, but some also have a strategy. The message tonight from local businesses during all this stormy weather. And packing up with no place to go, what Multnomah County did today instead of reopening shelters. But first, we're off to the Cascades for your ski report.